Good.
Okay, Brewdog, Lamb of God.
The can is cool as hell.
That's true. This is an art piece. Ghost Walker.
I think this is going to be the first one I don't finish.
It's a good Halloween beer.
Halloween beer. There you go. Give it away.
That's true. Our last episode, we tasted pumpkin beers. This is right along the... But that's saying something if this is the first out of all the flavors we've tasted that Corey didn't finish.
Yeah.
I wear them everywhere. I wear them to the beach. It doesn't matter.
When you wear them to the beach, do you have like a pair that's like cut off into like jorts overalls? What would those be called? Or is it
Short-alls.
Short hauls.
Short hauls.
Do you have those?
Oh yeah. You gotta trim them up a little bit. You know, get a little ventilation at the beach. You know,
I gotta see that.
Get my chicken legs some sun.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit was named by they. Faith stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcasts was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Growing corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
This is Corey Hillebo.
And this is David Whitaker.
Farm4Fun week. This is our Farm4Fun show. So as you know, listeners that have been with us for a while, this is no surprise to you. But for someone who's brand new, we're kicking back a little bit more of a laid-back structure. We're going to talk to somebody in agriculture, have a couple of drinks, and enjoy the time. Next week, or the next episode in your queue, is a Farm4Profit show. And that is where we focus on a what's working in ag segment and a general topic to help your farm achieve higher levels of profitability.
And as we record this, we are smack dab in the middle of harvest here. It is a beautiful harvest day, and we are going to town. What do you think, Dave?
I think that means you're chomping at the bit to get this done and
Yeah,
get back into the field. I'm sure you were rolling in on two wheels, but we'd like to thank our listener review brought to you by BW Fusion. They focus on growers' needs, and they aim to be trusted resource and operational success of the farm business. They bring years of agriculture experience in biologics and nutritionals, along with experts on the BW Fusion team, provide extreme value to their customers. And what is our review, Corey?
Our review is from KY Joe.
Not KY Jelly.
Not it could be. It could be KYJOE.
Joey.
KY Jelly and an OE. But I don't know what do you want me to say what that says, or what do I think that says?
It's a 5-star review. What do you think it says?
Oh, I thought it said great.
Oh,
because you had a bunch of stars in front of.
That's a 5-star review,
You're
which
gonna
would
have to-
probably say that.
You have to bleep that out.
Oh,
but I
that
thought
is
that's what it meant.
awesome. That's one of the best reviews we've ever had. Thanks, KY Jelly.
Thanks, KY.
KY Joe.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we thought we did a really good job of stockpiling episodes from our September recording, but here we are getting ready for November. So a quick little breather for Corey to come out of the field. Listeners, don't forget to leave your reviews behind. It could be yours that we make fun of on the next episode. Also, if you have any ideas, farm4profit LLC@gmail.com. But before we get started, you can't forget about that special from BW Fusion. Fourth quarter 2021 only. If you sign up and purchase 500 acres of Meltdown and their 401 team in whatever method or fashion that you get it, you get one free field in their 365 program. So, Corey, I'm pretty sure that I would sign up for the 500 acres, and then I would put that one field that I have that's a full section into
That's a
365.
full section. Yeah, that's all one field.
All one field. We just switched it to the North Farm.
I do want to report the link works.
Oh, good.
I did it the other day, and I said, have Brody call me. And he called me. He's like, I'm supposed to call you.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I want my free field.
There you go. Straight to it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, yes, that's how you got to go out there. Website, farm4profit.com or BW Fusion. Reach out. Let them know that you heard it here. But now, I think it's about time we finish messing around and get into our guest for the week.
Mm-hmm. We're going to try something new here. This could be a major flop. In a world where corn is king, we have a man on the fringe acres of the corn. A man that just likes to bag it up and dump it on the ground for deer. He's from the 13 original colonies. He's a walking billboard for Key Bib overalls, full of southern charm. Starring in this Farm4Profit podcast, Will Brinkley as Tarheel Farmer.
All right.
Welcome, Will. I feel like that was a major flop, but welcome
It was
to the.
good. It was
I
good.
needed someone to try it on, and we won't do it again. No.
At least you tried it out on me.
How you doing, man?
All pretty good. How about y'all?
We're good. Like I said, we had a little rain yesterday. It would have been even a better day to record, but we're here. We're going to have a good time hanging out with you and make the best of it.
So give us
Sounds like a plan.
a background about yourself. I gave a very, very small snippet. Let's hear your story.
Well, my story's probably a little different than a lot of other people out there listening. I grew up in center part of North Carolina, in central North Carolina, in the Piedmont. It's primarily a tobacco producing area. Years ago, that was the main crop. And that crop, ever since the buyout's kind of been moved to the side a little bit, and there's more corn and beans and grain farming going on here, a lot of poultry production. And my story is I grew up in this rural community. My grandpa was an auctioneer, so I was always around farmers with him, going to farm sales and stuff like that. Graduated high school, and ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a farmer. So I started messing with a few cows, doing a little bit of row crop stuff, very small scale. When I was probably 21, I met this neighbor that, I'd known him my whole life, but he wanted me to come help him one day cultivate tobacco. And so I started out helping him the first day, and at the end of the first day, he said, "You want to work again tomorrow?" I said, "That'd be great." So it's been 10 years now, and I've been with him, helped him pretty much full-time, farm full-time for myself. We do grading work and do some custom manure application too. So stay busy pretty much all the time.
Very nice. That's
Sounds
awesome.
like
I didn't know he had the auction connection there, Dave. That's pretty
Yeah.
Yep.
Was he a tobacco auctioneer is what I was curious.
No, he never was a tobacco auctioneer. He was mostly household property and farm equipment. He did some real estate too. But yeah, he auctioned. Well, he still got his license. I guess he was about 1965 he started. So he was in the business a long time. Was well known, and that's kind of how I got. A lot of people knew me in the ag part of the world down here, but through him, they knew I was his grandson. So that kind of got my foot in the door with a lot of different, people.
Gotcha. I should say that. Did you show up in 2 bears? I should say from
Is there
North
a problem
Carolina.
with that?
Is there from North Carolina, Walburg, North Carolina? I said from one of the original 13 colonies, which it is, but I wanted to make sure that was known that he was from North Carolina.
Has you ever heard anybody call it North Kakalaki?
Oh yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah,
I've never heard that.
I didn't figure. It's I had an uncle that lived in North Carolina, and he'd always say, "We're going to North Kakalaki."
Really?
Oh yeah.
So on the auction side, have you ever wanted to be an auctioneer, or can you do the chant? Have you ever tried?
No, I never. He always kind of told me the heyday auction was gone by the time I was old enough to do anything with it. I mean, with Craigslist and eBay and the internet, I mean, that kind of put a damper on the auctions around here. And he never pushed me, and I never really pursued it. I always wanted to farm ever since I was old enough to know what it was, and that's what I wanted to do.
So Dave, was that a major change? Is auctions coming back?
All auctioneers thought that eBay was going to shut down. Like, people are just going to sell it themselves, yet they still call every day. And the reason is auctioneering is kind of a service business. And so when people get to the age where they want to sell, you solve their problems. And so at first, the auction industry thought that was going to happen, and I don't think it did. I think it just promoted them even more.
Maybe it made the stuff you didn't want to auction so much.
Yeah.
Like, little get rid of the fuzz.
Yeah.
So
Well, should we review our first beer and just get started?
Yep.
Did they send you a beer as well?
No, we didn't get it down there.
Have you tried to send anything in the mail lately? Like, it wouldn't get there for a month.
A month.
It'd go out to one of the ships and sit there for a while and then be here in a month.
You're about right. Well,
what were you going to say, Will?
It'd probably be sitting in Kentucky about right now.
yeah.
It would probably be sitting in Kentucky about right now.
Yeah.
Is this thanks to
Doll.
Distributing. Thank you very much. This is Brewdog, Lamb of God Ghost Walker. Look at this. It's got like a skull with fire and brimstone and low alcohol. High on attitude.
It's actually
low alcohol. Do you
non-alcoholic.
Turn the can
beer.
around. We got duped.
I'm just reading the side.
Yeah.
Low alcohol.
Turn that one around. What's the
It
backside?
says non-alcoholic near beer.
There you go.
It's not a beer.
Non-alcoholic near beer.
I think
there
this
it
is a fad. Like, I think people are kind of cutting the booze and going to like, what do they call the mocktails?
It does not smell good.
Have you ever heard of that? Mocktails? It's like a cocktail, but it's
I have.
9 carbs, 28
oh my
calories.
gosh. That is pungent. It kicks you in the nose.
I'm glad y'all didn't send me the non-alcoholic beer.
What is that?
Oh.
I mean, it's not terrible,
It's not good.
but it's
either.
like it's flat.
It is.
It's the Ghost Walker.
I was actually expecting like a spicy when you called it the Ghost Walker.
When I'm going to drink it, like, and it hits my nose, it's like it's a old leftover asparagus with like cheese on
I'm
it
with
or
ya.
something.
Yeah,
Like, it's like,
it's
what
weird.
is that? It's like
How
long has this been in the fridge?
Well, I wouldn't go buy this.
Will you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
The way y'all are describing it, I don't think I need any.
Hey, but you know what? If you like,
Contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume.
let me see this. This is our first non-alcoholic beer we've ever had. 28 calories,
Yep.
9 grams of carbs. So, I don't know. If you're like maybe a person that doesn't drink, but you like the beer and you want just a little itch, go have this, and you'll only have one.
There's got to be better options than this for a non-alcoholic
Bush
beer.
NA.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, Brewdog, Lamb of God, inner.
The can is cool as hell.
That's true. This is an art piece. Ghost Walker.
I think this is gonna be the first one I don't finish.
It's a good Halloween beer.
Halloween beer. There you go. Give it away.
That's true. Our last episode we tasted pumpkin beers. This is right on the. But that's saying something. If this is the first out of all the flavors we've tasted that Corey didn't finish, I don't think I'm finishing it either.
Wow.
So, Will, you started farming. You were in grandpa in auctioneering, FFA in school, and you got with this neighbor farmer, and he started you farming. Tell us more. Are you married, kids, a model with key overalls, or what do you do?
Yeah, we with him. He started when I started out with him. He was in the tobacco business, like a lot of people were. Well, as that transitioned, it kind of faded away, and he quit actually in 2015. So we transitioned over to more corn, beans, wheat. We make a bunch of straw. I got married in 2019 to my wife, and we just had a little boy back in January.
Congrats.
And he's been a lot of fun. So that's been a life-changing event, but it was for the better.
Do you have little mini key overalls? Bib overalls?
I actually have a pair I wore when I was a kid that he can wear probably here in a year or so.
Well, that's the dependability of the Key brand. If
You know
they've
what the-
lasted,
Oh, yeah.
You know what the bib overall of choice was when I was a kid? Was it Oshkosh?
Oshkosh,
Pigash?
yep.
That's what it was.
the corduroy ones.
Is that still a thing? Are those still? I have not heard
Yeah.
that name for a long time.
There's Baby Gap has them.
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got.
I think that's a kid's. Yeah.
babies.
You spend a lot of time over there in the baby gap there,
Oh
Dave?
my! I tell you,
Probably has at one time.
I've had kids. Yep.
So how'd you meet your wife?
I met her through a mutual friend, and I actually knew most of her family through farming before I ever met her. So I knew some of her cousins and uncles and great uncles, and it was kind of a small world deal. She's from about 10 miles from where I grew up, and that's where we live now, is on her family's place. Her grandma passed away, and we remodeled the house before we got married and moved in there. So I live about 10 miles from where I grew up, and I pretty much cover the whole north end of the county here where I live, between where I work and where I farm and where I live.
Sounds like another Platt Book romance.
Platt Book romance.
No, I'm just giving you crap.
So she's obviously keen on those overalls.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was part of the charm.
That's
Hell
part
yeah,
of the
that's
charm.
easy access.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I saw one of your TikToks that you were married in them and you're going to be buried in them.
As long as they're still making them, that's what I'm gonna be wearing.
Oh my!
I wear them everywhere. I wear them to the beach. It doesn't matter.
So
I wear them.
When you wear them to the beach, do you have like a pair that's like cut off into like jorts overalls? What would those be called? Or is it
Short
a full
alls.
Short hauls.
Short hauls.
Do you have those?
Oh yeah. You gotta trim them up a little bit. Get a little ventilation at the beach.
I gotta see that.
Get my chicken legs some sun.
I was just going to say, the white legs would probably be blinding.
I'm thinking, because I chore in Key Bib overalls for my hog barns.
Yeah.
Because I love all the pockets and everything. I got crap everywhere. And then in the summertime, I just don't wear a shirt underneath of them, for the airflow. I'm thinking a cut-off pair of those might be pretty comfy.
New trend.
Yeah.
You could make a dance about it on TikTok,
Make
and
a
I
dance.
bet you go
There you
viral.
go. I want to see a dance trend.
There we
You
go.
just need a hashtag.
Is that what our podcast uniform's going to be? Is going to be our short alls?
Short alls and mullets.
Can I just this is a funny text I just got from my landlord. What's with all the volunteer beans growing everywhere?
Okay, well, let's talk about that. God. Let's talk about up here we've got a rash of bean fields that have been harvested that now look like they've been seeded to cover crops.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Looks like a
Yeah,
bunch of
exactly.
gleaners have been everywhere.
it really does. So why is this, Corey? Do your fields look that way?
Yeah, everyone's got it. It's worse, obviously, in the tire tracks where the grain cart or the combine drove because it got more seed to soil contact. But, we try to do the best that we can to set these combines. But you know what happened? What was that, 2 weeks ago when we had that major run on beans and I had my TikTok about harvesting beans too dry?
Yeah.
Beans were 9%. Well, they're just shattering everywhere. I mean, it's just like you hit the plant and it was an explosion and guys wouldn't stop. We were just as guilty, because right now they're combating rain and high levels of humidity and all that, and you can't get in the field because they're 15%. So, I don't know.
You can tell some of the fields where you know it's sickle shatter.
Yep.
But then there are some that you can tell are very clearly in where the residue was spread.
Yep.
And that's a different issue.
And I will say, with our Estes concaves, because we have the Estes concaves now, and I haven't given a really good review of them yet, but they're really aggressive, especially brand new, because everything's just, there's no rounded corners, everything's sharp, paints on them and everything. We had a tough time getting them set for beans at the beginning because they would just strip the pods off the stem, and normally you just want to get the beans out of the pod, leave the pods on the stem.
Right.
So we were trying to clean the pods out of the beans, and we were just having a tough time. So we were running the fan higher than normal, running our sieves more open than normal, and it just we ended up dialing it in. But those first few days, I will say, it was rough. But the sample that we got at the end, seed beans, those guys love them. I mean, there's hardly any splits, so you can clean out pods, I guess.
Good.
But
Well, Will, what's harvest been like down in your area? Is it been like a pretty normal year?
It's been better than normal. The past 3 years has been extremely wet down here. I mean, it's just been awful to try to get any corn or beans out. I would say right around me, everybody's getting pretty close to being done with corn. I know in the eastern part of the state, they had a really good crop. All the feed mills are full down there, so they're having to leave some corn in the field. Everybody's out of storage. It's just, kind of one of them deals. They're just waiting to get some room for everything down there. But around here, it was probably an average crop, maybe a little bit better than average. But I figure everybody will be done in the next 10 days at the most. It's been dry here. Everybody will be on to sowing wheat then, and then we'll start cutting beans probably. We probably got 2 weeks left before we get started on beans. Good.
so are you mainly just corn and soybeans?
I'm corn and beans mostly. The guy I farm with, we make a bunch of straw too for the lawn and garden, and also highway use. The guys blowing the road right of ways and stuff like that. We make a bunch of straw in the springtime. We'll mow a bunch of rye for straw and wheat straw too. So that's kind of our big deal. He raises some corn and beans too.
Okay.
So, and right around in here, the tobacco, it's about gone. There's a little bit of cotton right around me in the southern part of the county, but very, very little. Most of it is corn and beans here anymore, and some cows.
Your corn stays standing pretty well this year. Do you have any down corn issues?
No, we don't have a lot of problems out here unless it's just a freak thing. We got so many tree lines and small fields. Because where I'm at in this tobacco country, there's a lot of 7, 8, 9, 10 acre fields surrounded by trees. So we don't have a lot of wind trouble unless it's just a very isolated deal. We don't usually have much lay down.
Did you see that Pioneer screw up?
Oh my god! I saw
On Twitter?
the original tweet, and then someone screenshot it, before it went, and then that got retweeted, and
Somebody's PR man got fired this morning. It sounded like.
I highly doubt it because I worked for Pioneer once, and you can't fire someone unless they do a safety violation.
So I missed it. What happened?
So this guy says, "This is what you get." This is not a direct quote. This is what you put a picture up of down corn with the corn header from the combine.
Was it a video or a picture?
I think it was a picture, and it said, "This is what you get when you buy Pioneer corn, and it's all down and bad." And someone at the PR person that day that was sitting behind the keyboard must have thought it was got a notification and said, "Ooh, someone's liking Pioneer. This is what you get when you get Pioneer." And must not have seen it, and it was all down corn, and said, "Oh, congratulations," or whatever. That looks great. Thanks for
Oh no.
Yeah.
And everybody jumped on it. Like, they caught it right away. This account that posted it out is not a small account. So a lot of people had seen the down corn picture that he's battling with.
Oh, no.
And Pioneer jumped on it like, "Oh, this is great. Awesome. Thank you for buying Pioneer."
Yeah. But Pioneer's got Tony Reed on their side now because, did you see his video? He's the decal shit's going down pretty hard.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to do that, but that's kind of funny.
Well, then
I can't imagine going through what everybody up there went through last year with the derecho and all that. I can't imagine running the combine through that day in and day out. That had to be just miserable.
It was just bang your head against a brick wall. But, we were blessed because the guys that did go get it, we didn't have any rain last fall. So it was kind of, it's bad for the drought, but great for corn quality. So we actually picked a lot of it up off the ground. And now that we've been through most of the beans, a tailing good thing for that, a lot of people had long-term corn on corn, and they couldn't go corn on corn again because of all the down corn kernels. They went beans. I've heard so many 80-plus bushel bean yields because it's been long-term corn on corn this year, more than I ever have. And so they're having a little bit of residual goodness this year.
Well, I can't believe the volunteer corn that is showing up after these fields have been harvested from the corn that went down over a year ago.
Yes. So, you had volunteer corn that was 5 foot tall that they went through and cut through with the bean header. And I figured once you cut that off, because a lot of these had ears on them, maybe not mature ears, but you cut that off, I figured the growing point would be up and out of the ground and be cut off and be dead. Nope. It's just sprouting more corn. Cover crop.
So imagine this issue. My in-laws went 100% non-GMO beans this year, and one kernel out of 200 can set the test off. And I say kernel for bean, but kernel for corn. So there's been some volunteer corn in a couple of fields to where we had loads get rejected because there was volunteer corn.
And that was traded.
With traits in the sample.
Oh, no.
So not a bean, but it's a corn kernel causing issues. So who would have thought?
Because they're grabbing those 200 kernels and then mixing it up
blending
with
it,
water.
Put it in a blender, put it in water.
And then they're doing a test for
traits.
Roundup and
Liberty, Roundup, and then a third one.
So glyphosate and glufosinate and I don't know.
You're over my pay grade.
Probably dicamba or Enlist, I guess.
Yeah, it could be. There's three tests that they're doing. So yeah, that's kind of a pain in the butt. So you try and retest the load without any kernels of corn in there, so on and so forth, just to make it clear. So a little bit extra. Let's do another beer because I accidentally just took a taste of it, and I feel bad for cheating on you guys. I just got thirsty.
I saw that.
Is this one a real beer?
This is from Dahl Distributing.
Non-alcoholic as well, isn't it?
It is
It is non-alcoholic.
It is another Brew Dog.
Hazy AF. Non-alcoholic near beer is what they call it. And so hazy, I would think, I'm drinking a little hazy IPA over here. Is it supposed to be the same as that?
I would assume.
Let's give it a try.
It's got a smell, too.
It's got the same smell. This one's a little bit more got a little citrus at the beginning, but
It does have the same smell. It still is not smooth.
I wonder what their ingredients are.
Like it's a really watered down bad beer.
I was a little disappointed I didn't get any beer, but now I'm not disappointed.
Don't be.
I feel better
We'll just
about it.
send you a case of Busch Light or something. This is
Help me think of something that tastes good. What are some good foods in North Carolina? I need some good food.
Barbecue, man. We're in barbecue country.
Are you?
You got a favorite thing that you like to barbecue?
Now down here, barbecue is all hog barbecue. It's just chopped hog barbecue. Barbecue here is a noun, not a verb.
That's fair.
So does
There's Lexington style, which is actually where I live in Lexington, or near Lexington, and then there's Eastern style, and it's kind of two different styles on how they the sauce they put it in. But if you ever get to come to North Carolina and eat barbecue, it's really good.
So does everything have barbecue sauce on it? Like I like barbecue, like smoked meat or whatever, but I'm not a big fan of the sauce unless it's sweet.
Every restaurant here, the barbecue restaurants will have their own sauce. It'll be homemade, and the Eastern North Carolina sauce is more of a vinegar-based sauce, whereas Lexington style is more of a ketchup-based sauce. And I don't know how to describe it. It's the vinegar-based sauce tastes kind of like vinegar and mustard mixed.
Yeah,
and it's really good. It's really good. But
so what's the white sauce?
Yeah, that's more Alabama chicken sauce. I think Alabama white sauce is how I've always seen it here.
Because I just had Jethro's for lunch, no free ads, and they've got white sauce in one of their jugs called the Carolina sauce. So I think that's misbranding. It needs to be the Alabama sauce.
That could be South. I think there's some white sauce in South Carolina too.
South Kalalaki or whatever. Is that?
Yeah.
So are you like North Korea and South Korea between North and South Carolina?
No, there's not really a rivalry there. I don't know who North Carolina. It seems like our rivalry is always with West Virginia for some reason. There's a lot of people here from West Virginia that came down, so it's just kind of a running joke. We pick on West Virginians.
That's funny. We like to pick on West Virginia Big 12 too.
As well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when did you get on TikTok? I know it was within the last year or so, right?
Yeah, I've been on there. It's kind of a weird story. Not weird, but me and my wife got married, and before we'd go to bed every night, she'd lay there laughing at these TikToks she was watching. Well, I'm like, I'm not getting on this stupid app. And so all my buddies always sending me TikToks and stuff like that. Well, one night she was gone, left her phone laying there or something. I'm like, I'm going to get on here and look around and see what the big hype is. So I get to typing in the search bar like Case International Combines or, corn farm. And, I just get to watching stuff. I'm like, hey, this is all right. So then fast forward, like the night before we had my son in the hospital, my wife videoed me doing some rant about eating in restaurants and mask wearing and something like that. And it just like blew up overnight. So then I was like, I'm going to start making some more videos while we were at home with my son over last winter. And it just kind of blew up all of a sudden. And I got followers and had a couple videos with, a couple 100,000 views. And I was like, well, there's nobody around here watching these things. And I went 2 counties north of me to eat supper one night, and people chased me out of the restaurant wanting to know if I was that Tarheel farmer guy. So it was just kind of a random thing.
What a deal. That's just kind of how it gets started. It just seems like there's one or two things that launch somebody. Because you've got like 150-some thousand followers now.
Yeah, and I don't, the things that I do that I think are funny don't get that many views, but if I just do something that's real, like just off the top of my head, random, because I'm authentic. Everything I do is something that's really happened, I've really done, and it just blows up all of a sudden, and I guess it gets in the right algorithm or whatever, and I get people message me from all over, talking about my TikToks and stuff like that and how they relate to them. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome from somebody that was never planning on getting on TikTok to start with.
Yeah, I hear that. So are you on any other social media platforms? Is TikTok the main one?
I do a little Instagram, but that's about it. Mostly TikTok.
Have you figured Instagram out? I can't figure it out. It just doesn't seem like
I think
my
Instagram is
speed.
just a faster way to post to Facebook.
Really?
People,
I think it really is.
because that's what they do. It all goes to Facebook, but they have filters, and Facebook doesn't have filters.
Okay.
See, my wife keeps up with the TikTok trends through Instagram. It seems like everything from TikTok makes it to Instagram.
Yeah, someone said the biggest flex that TikTok has is that all the reels on Instagram are TikToks. And I saw Facebook has reels now, too. Why?
I don't know. I saw Snapchat did an update, and that caught me off guard for a little bit, too. But you wouldn't know since you are not
Who
on Snapchat.
Snapchats anymore? That is like, what? Who would do that? Like, that's
It's like
so
Facebook.
last year.
Facebook is old school now.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I keep Facebook is so my wife can tag me in pictures of my little boy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
the way it
Snapchat's
works.
trash. In the trash.
So you mentioned a barbecue down there is always hog. Is that because you don't have any cattle? You don't have any beef?
No, we're actually a pretty big beef producing state. I think we're number 2 in hogs still. I think I was actually number 1 in hogs. Is that correct?
We are.
Yep. There's more hogs than people
so I
here.
think we're number 2, and we're number 1 in sweet potatoes. I know that.
Ooh.
But yeah, there's a lot of beef cows raised around here. But no, it's just always been hog barbecue in North Carolina. That's what it is.
Why don't you grow any sweet potatoes?
I'm too far west. You got to be down east in the sandy dirt to really get a good sweet potato. There's some raised in the northeast corner of the state and some in the southeast corner of the state.
Okay.
And I'm kind of in the central, so I'm just a little too far west. I'm more in the tobacco belt, and there's some dairies west of me too. And in the mountains, they got a lot of produce and stuff like that. North Carolina's pretty diverse when you get to looking at all the different crops that are raised.
So what's the difference between a yam and a sweet potato?
Same thing as far as I know.
So I'd heard a dad joke today scrolling through TikTok.
Here we go. I'm ready.
So there's 30 cows in a pasture and 28 chickens. How many didn't? There's 30 cows in a pasture and 28 chickens. How many didn't?
10.
That's right. It's not the number 28. 20 of them ate chickens.
Uh-huh.
Wow, this silence is deafening.
Will, are you there?
It loses
I'm
everything.
going to get my wife for that one later.
It's everything. You got to explain it. It just loses it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'll have to explain it to her for about an hour. It's a little slow when it comes to jokes.
You just make a TikTok out of that. Just like, you see here, there's 30 cows, like a big old, like up on the board or something. Like there's 30 cows. And then
There's 28 chickens. How many didn't?
That
That kind of reminds me of what you and fellow guest and fan of the podcast, Mark Thomas, had going back and forth about zebra cakes. You had a debate out there as to whether or not vegetarians could eat zebra cakes.
Yeah, we're also on animal crackers and goldfish too. That's kind of been a hot topic. I don't know if we ever determined whether they could or not.
we need to get that vegan lady
We do.
to weigh in on it.
Yeah.
I dated a vegetarian one time. I need to call her up and see if she can eat animal crackers, because I'm borderline carnivore, so it was never going to work anyway. So, it is what it is. I'll call her and ask her.
One like as in one date, or one time as in just for a little while?
It was multiple days. It was probably like 3 months.
Wow. I'm sure your
She
wife
was
would love you calling her.
Yeah. She was the kind of vegetarian you want to be around, though, because she didn't try to make you a vegetarian. So I always appreciated that about
That
it.
is, yep. You know what? If you want to be a vegetarian, that's fine.
That's rare.
Just don't try to push it on
Is that
me.
a funny dad joke there?
No, it could be.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I get it.
Dad joke
That's
king
rare.
over here.
Yeah.
Get it? Yeah. All right.
But it
Medium
is.
rare. It's medium
How
rare.
often do you get them to keep their opinions to themselves? I
Kind
shouldn't
of like
go there.
CrossFit. Who does CrossFit?
Chuck Weldon.
They'll tell you about it
Maybe a little.
if you want to know.
He's a beast, though.
He is.
Yeah. The other thing I saw cruising your TikTok was, I don't even know how to say this, Triangle CC 1947, Triangle-ec?
Triangle Chemical
Okay.
Company.
Oh, chemical
Yeah.
company.
Yep, they're a chemical company we deal with based out of Georgia. And I was wearing their hat in like one of my second or third videos. And they sent me a bunch of stuff. And I took over their Instagram for a day here a while back. It's just kind of a cool deal. They kind of wanting to promote what their farmers do and all that. So that's it was a pretty cool deal for a company like that to reach out to me and want me to take over for them for a day.
So have you been able to get many partnerships like that because of your social media?
A few. I try to you get all kinds of offers and stuff, and I try to weed out the ones that. I had a couple clothing brands approach me. I'm like, man, if you ain't gonna give me some overalls, it's not gonna work out because you're not gonna be able to see your shirts and stuff.
You're not gonna be.
I'm gonna wear overalls every day, so
Yeah, told Carhartt to screw off.
No, if they came to me, I could probably switch.
Subliminal messaging. Carhartt.
That's what. You should just send them our way now instead of turning them down. Just send them our way because we don't get a lot of
I
that.
didn't realize I've been showing you guys my old chest meat for a while.
Well, that's why we got the camera on.
The deep V going on.
Dang, I did not know that.
The deep V.
Felt a little breeze.
Not Dave's hot air.
There you go. You need a toll. Who likes the V-neck and who likes the crew neck?
Will, you texted me, I think, a week or so ago of doing something. I put it in my intro because probably no one picked up on it. You were bagging whole ear corn, and you said still the most profitable thing on the farm.
Yeah, that's kind of a little niche that I kind of always been doing ever since I started farming. There's a lot of cities right here close to where we farm, so I bag corn and sell to the deer hunters, and that's kind of a little way we can make a little extra money, and it'll probably take up, 50-60% of my crop this year will go to them.
Wow.
So they can.
Holy crap.
This is turning into a profit show.
Yeah.
Wow. So obviously the margin's there for you to do the extra leg work to bag that. So I missed it. What kind of bags are there? They're like burlap sacks?
It looks like a
Grocery
white,
sacks?
White plastic
Just a
bag.
woven polypropylene bag.
Yep.
So
50 pounds, or how much? What do those weigh?
Yeah, 50 standard. And I mean, in my county, I would bet there's 50, 60 people selling corn to deer hunters, bagged like that. Maybe
Oh, my
more than
goodness.
that.
All right, here's a little trivia for you. How much does a bushel of ear corn weigh?
56 pounds.
No.
70.
Oh,
Yep.
ear corn. Oh, you got me.
Yep. 70 pounds. So let's see.
I got to do a better job listening.
What are you selling these in a store or just from the farm, or how you doing that?
We supply some stores with both shelled corn and ear corn. A lot of it leaves. I got a little farm stand there at the farm. A lot of it will leave from there. And shelled corn's kind of become a year-round thing. We supply stores with it year-round. People, I guess, feeding chickens and ducks and whatever else, whatever other kind of livestock they got. But yeah, it's big business here. It's a pretty good little extra side income if you want to do the work to do it.
So what do you get out of a 50-pound bag?
Right now around here, I'm kind of ashamed to tell y'all this. Y'all be wanting to ship corn over here. Shelled corn's running about $8 this year for a 50-pound bag.
So does your wife run the stand?
So $8. So that's more
less than a bushel.
That's more than $8 a bushel.
It's $10.
$8.96 a bushel.
Whew. Might as well be organic.
No, my farm stand is just an honor system. We'll put a couple hundred bags in there, and we've got regular customers that come in there and they'll put the money in the box. And
Oh, cool.
we'll, but it works out. It works out pretty good.
I do that with my wood pellets for smoking meat. Wood
Oh, yeah?
pellet grills. Honor system. It's like, you know what? Someone takes the money on the clip. They needed it more than I do.
I know people do that with sweet corn.
Yep.
So speaking of hunting, Dave, it's been a couple shows since you've been on because you were out gallivanting around the mountains.
Yeah.
I call them mountains. How'd your hunting trip go?
It was very interesting. It was a good time, but it wasn't what I expected.
What'd you go for? What'd you go hunting for?
I went elk hunting, actually, and this is the first time I've ever hired an outfitter. And when I thought of an outfitter, I thought, okay, you're paying for it. They're going to pick you, et cetera. So I show up, and it's this, run down Montana area. We get there, and I'm thinking, surely this can't be it. Surely this can't be it. I, paid for somebody professional. This can't be. And called a guy up, and I said, hey, I think I'm in the right place. I Googled it, but I'm just sitting here at like random horse barn that's kind of half fallen down. And he says, yeah, I just go down to those hay bales. And I'm thinking, all right. So I go down to the hay bales. So the entry and the communication at first was a little less than desired, but I knew if they were backwoods Montana that we were going to get into some hunting. So that's exactly what happened. Their horses were phenomenal. We went up on the side of the mountain with some stuff. You're like, no way we're riding horses up there. But like side cliffs and stepping over stuff. We saw some elk, and they just weren't in the rut yet. They weren't in the rut yet, so couldn't get close enough. About as close as I got was about 90 yards, and I was hoping to get a 50, 60-yard shot. So didn't get quite close
Because you were
enough.
bow hunting.
That's correct.
Yep. Wow. It's tough to get an elk, even in the rut, with the bow.
But now I'm watching TikToks, and everybody's like showing pictures
of
like bugling bulls, and they're like 5 feet away, and I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. It wasn't even close to that. So
I've got a few friends. My insurance agent actually is a big hunter, and they always, I don't know where they go exactly. I think it's Montana. I'm not exact, but they go to public.
Yep.
And they always go, and one might get a small bull or a cow or, whatever. They never get big ones. Like all three of them got big, like 6x6s this year. Just giant freaking thing.
Our food was great, though. We had her cook, and she was fantastic. And I think I ate better out in the middle of nowhere mountains with no electricity, no nothing, than I've eaten for years. And every night we had something good. I mean, like full-on steaks with asparagus and potatoes. And I mean, she spent all day cooking, and it was super good.
No fish.
That's everybody in the Southeast. That's their dream. All the hunters to go shoot an elk somewhere.
Yeah,
and that's like the holy grail for everybody down here that hunts. So.
I think here's a fun analytic for you is the guide was telling me, so normally in Montana they give out 17,000 tags to out-of-state people. This year, and normally they're right about 100%, 17,000 apply. This year they had 56,000 apply.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
So a lot of people want to go hunting this year.
Well, I mean, kind of makes sense. You can't buy a side-by-side or an ATV or, any of that stuff. Everyone realized 2020. The one thing that 2020 made people realize is they need to get out and live life.
I think so.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's really boosted our corn sales last year on the deer corn side of things because you couldn't do anything outside. Everything was locked down, so everybody went deer hunting. I guess in North Carolina last year, it was just crazy.
I have been seeing TikToks of those guys that are selling shelled corn as feed or bait or whatever you want to call it. You pull up underneath the bin, you fill your sack up and put your quarters in, and it dumps out a bushel. Whatever it is, the system they've got. And that just seems so foreign up here. I don't feel like we have to bait deer here.
You can't bait deer here. It's
illegal.
Have
to bait, can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there is a franchise opportunity, like kind of like these small coffee shops. Like you can actually put like a bait station with corn or
a vending machine.
Yeah, like in the Target parking lot, and people can go and put their dollar bills in and fill their own buckets and stuff.
Really?
Yep.
But we can't do that here.
Well, you can bait for pictures all year round. You just can't hunt within a certain amount of yards of that bait. I can't remember how many yards that is. 70, 50, something.
Yeah, something like that. And a certain days,
and salt blocks and things like that. Yep.
Now, if you're like bear hunting in Minnesota, man, when I worked at Hardee's, people just come in to get the grease, and you can take the grease out there, and they're like, hey, can we have your, yeah, sure.
And they love donuts.
And they just take it out there. We did see, as we
Are you
rode
talking cops or real bears?
Bears, no. Bears love donuts.
Jelly donuts is the thing I've heard.
We rode into camp, and there was cattle. Black-headed cattle, and they were all over, and there was a calf that was dead right there, and the guide said, I bet you $100 there's a bear there tomorrow. Sure enough, we went there, and big old sow and cub, and then the next day there was a boar there, and a couple of black bears right there, so we were all pistol packing, preaching posse. I tell you what, everybody was packing around just in case.
Say that again.
The pistol packing, preaching posse.
Yeah.
Pistol packing, preaching posse.
Yeah.
Are there bears in Iowa?
Just a couple.
We tracked one all the way across the state.
Yeah, there's a couple
2 years
in
ago?
northern Iowa, but they're moving here, I think.
Okay.
We got bobcats and mountain lions now.
Okay.
There's a bobcat down the road from our house that was hit and killed.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I've seen bobcat while I was out hunting, but I haven't seen mountain lion or bear. But
was it tagged?
I didn't see it personally. I saw the neighbor took a picture of it dead in the ditch.
So are you a deer hunter, Will?
No, not as much as I would like to be because deer season's right in the middle of corn season whenever we're trying to bag and sell corn. My wife loves to hunt. she'll go every day if she could, but I'm not patient enough to hunt. I'll go fishing, but I cannot sit in the deer stand all day. I just am not patient. I'm not geared that way. I got to be doing something.
So what's the difference? Just the act of casting?
Yeah, I can be walking around while I'm fishing, or pacing around the boat or something. You got to be still when you're hunting. I can't sit still.
Do you got any other hobbies besides farming?
I love to work. Like I say, we do some fishing. We usually go to the coast for a week in the fall, the Outer Banks, and fish. Really enjoy doing that. Just don't get to do it as much as I'd like to. But pretty much I was raised a workaholic. My daddy always worked. My grandpa always worked. I was raised working, and that's what I like to do. That's really all I do. If it's daylight and I can get to the truck, I'm going to be working somewhere.
Nice.
I like it. Well, speaking of working, let's go to work drinking a next beer here. So Dahl Distributing. This is Sam Adams. Just the Haze. But this is a non-alcoholic again. So just the A's non-alcoholic IPA for you boys.
You know what? I bet this is for sober. What is it? Sober
October.
What
I didn't even think about that until you just said it.
It has the same
that's what it is.
smell, but it's a different company. It's like,
I don't know. Not my cup of tea.
I will say this is a better one out of all of them.
I was going to say the same thing.
this has the one of the flavors of the, what's the beer we like? The Tyrant of Darkness.
Tyrant of Darkness.
Oh, it does.
It is one of the, but it's a really light beer.
It's a light beer.
It's the one that makes your cheek go.
This is the best one of the non-alcoholics. It still doesn't smell good.
Sober October.
That's probably
Those
what it-
sly dogs.
You
That's
have
exactly
sober
what
October when we're right in the middle of harvest.
Corey,
This harvest anyway.
I did come back from hunting and it was like all no shave November. So I thought I'm going to grow a beard. So grew a beard. Corey was like, you should grow a beard. And then I went and did my welding project and all I had was the smell of like burnt metal in my beard for like the next like
It
3
just
days.
turned Ann on. Didn't
I'm like, I can't do it. So got to shave it off. So just shaved it right before you got to come back. I was sporting the full beard, just like Will.
Sounds like when I've been spreading chicken litter all day, I can smell it for 2 or 3 days on me. I just can't. You can't wash it off.
So I'm in the hog barns all the time, and that was like the first year or two. I'm like, God, my phone stinks. I take my phone in the barn. My hands stink. All this. Started using apple cider vinegar in my shampoo after I chore. It helps. But what you don't notice is like, so your nose hairs, you're breathing obviously in the hog barns. Well, it's stuck in your nose hair. So take that, like the shampoo, and shove it up your nose and twirl it around.
So my dad's thing has always been he snorts water in the shower.
He snorts water in the shower.
Same thing. Grew up with hogs, always doing hog chores. That's what part of his, to get his nostrils cleaned out. But I'm the same way. I liked the potent things, something else, and I used to take gum sometimes and twirl a stick of gum up there to try and get rid of that smell. Because I'd go to school thinking that I still stunk like the barn.
I think apple cider vinegar doesn't just mask it, though. I think there's something about it that kills.
That would kill it?
That kills the smell.
Huh.
I even had like my deer hunting soap, that's supposed to kill scent and all that in there. And tell you what, it doesn't kill hog scent.
So, did you guys see that our auction site went down along with every other auction site in the country?
Auction time?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened?
So, ransomware. I think the ransom was $6.8 million.
And you just paid it?
And I'm pretty sure they just paid it. Wow. Yeah, because them being down, so Sandhills Publishing, giant, right? They started this tractor house. They said, hey, let's give every dealership a free website. So they did. So like all the inventory management for every dealer came from Tractor House, Sandhills Publishing. Then they started Auction Time. All the equipment that moves out there through all the big auction companies and through all the dealers, well, they all got shut down. And then they had bought out a couple years ago all the software called High Bid or Auction Flex that most of the smaller auctioneers used. So even down to grandma's estate sale or real estate auctions, they all got shut down. So, yeah.
How long of a time was that? Because Will actually said something about that. He was pissed that
it was about
down.
3 days that they shut down because we started getting calls immediately. And then you don't want to tell your customers, oh, they were hacked. Yeah, your credit card's probably hacked.
I didn't even think about that.
So they have 5 million customers, what they've told me. Think of if like 1 out of 5 gave their credit card, there's something to be ransomed.
Well, honestly, you've got my credit card on your website, and I'm pretty sure Auction Time does. But I haven't seen a thing about anyone warning me about that.
Nope. So we asked them to tell our customers if we did. They said their credit card layers are 5 or 6 layers deep, and they only got a couple layers deep. So
they're encrypted.
They're encrypted enough that they weren't hacked. So if you're listening, I don't think your credit card's out in some other place.
We hope.
It was a hell of a mess at my house. I actually had to sit and talk to my wife the other night and actually have a real conversation without being on Tractor House looking for something.
I'm not going to lie. I do have a routine every Monday of going out to Auction Time and looking to see what's for sale this week. And it was weird when you pulled up that site and there was nothing there.
Nothing.
So what do you think the ramifications, like just those 3 days of not being able to have an auction and all that, like that had to cost billions.
Millions.
Millions.
Well, what do they do with the stuff that's like halfway through selling? Do they just reset it?
Yeah, so that brought up a really interesting question in my world, in the auction world. One guy wrote a blog about it, and it's if you're selling something absolute, it means you're going to sell it no matter what. Mm-hmm. Well, all of Auction Time's auctions are absolute. Okay,
you can put a reserve though.
Not on Auction Time.
You can put a starting bid.
You can put a starting bid, I guess, if you want. But they're supposed to, not have a reserve on it. They're selling.
The only thing you can do is put a starting bid.
So in the UCC says Uniform Code of Commercial, whatever it is.
Uniform Commercial Code.
There we go. Uniform Commercial Code says that if you start and open the bidding, that you have to sell it. Well, when did the auction end? Well, if the auction ended and they were halfway through it, they're supposed to honor those bids. And some of the people are like, I ain't honoring those bids. We're only halfway there. It wasn't to the money. There's a couple of real estate auctions that happened with, and they said, well, we had already started the bidding because we had pre-bidding. And the gentleman that wrote the blog article said, well, you're obligated to sell it. Well, I kind of call BS on that. I don't think you're obligated to sell it because it's your fiduciary responsibility of the seller. But
there's got to be something in the bylaws that's like
act to God. Or,
a tornado came. Obviously, you couldn't finish the auction, or
Yeah.
Corey, I honestly thought me and you broke it because you sent me the link to that planner you had up there, and then like 12 hours later, the site shut down. So I thought maybe it was me and you.
If anyone's out there, Will is looking for a 6-row Kinsey twist fold. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. And I don't think they
hard to find.
I don't think they made them, did they?
They did. There's a very few of them.
Okay.
They're mostly in like Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Tennessee. They're very hard to find a 6-row
and
split or twist fold.
With interplants.
Yep.
Most
of them are 815s.
Yeah, you can find 815s quite a bit.
So why not go 8? Why the 6?
I would like to stay on with my cornhead pattern. And we got narrow roads. Well, which it wouldn't be no big deal with the roads, but we got small fields too. A lot of patches here, a lot of terraces, rough land. It's hard to an 8-row's fine for some fields, but for other fields, a 6-row would be a lot better.
So I sent him an 8-row because Syngenta down the road was doing a big auction on their research planners, and they had an 8-row, and I said, well, I'll just take the plasma cutter to it.
Yeah, I wonder, could you do that? Could you take 2 units off or 4 units off?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any big deal. You just have to remount the row markers probably in the transmission on the corner.
Yep.
Shouldn't be any big deal.
No, but it'd be a lot easier just to buy one.
Buy a 6-row. Yeah.
That was ready to go.
Then I got 4 units sitting around I don't know what I'm going to do with.
Yeah. Put them on Craigslist.
Nobody uses that anymore.
As we say, Craigslist is dead. Facebook Marketplace.
Marketplaces took over here.
Oh yeah, it is here too. You got something selling, it's not on auction. It's on Facebook
Actually,
Marketplace.
I bought my combine off Marketplace in Indiana, of all places.
That's one thing. You had a TikTok. You're not one brand loyal. You're kind of a little bit of everything, right?
Oh yeah, we're a rainbow here. Whatever gets the job done. We like red combines, internationals, Case internationals. But as far as tractors go, pretty much anything but John Deere.
Anything but
John Deere.
Huh.
There's not, in North Carolina, in the central part of the state, up until probably the 100 series, the 7400, 8400, that series, there never was a lot of John Deeres before that because their lift is not the best in the world and all the tobacco stuff is on beds. So there was a lot of Fergusons and a lot of Fords with the draft control and all that. They had a better draft control. That's my opinion on why there's no John Deeres around here.
Ground clearance.
From like
Ground clearance and 3-point lift?
Yeah.
That makes
Ford
sense.
and Ferguson had a lot better lift system than John Deere did back in probably the 70s and 80s. And that's what really, I guess, hurt John Deere around here. And true, there was a lot of internationals around here in those days because International made a lot of small cultivating tractors for the tobacco guys. So a lot of them run 966s, 1066s, and went to the 86 series too because they were already running internationals for little stuff. Okay. John Deere didn't really catch on here till probably mid 90s, late 90s, somewhere in there. Well, and now it's probably half the guys are all John Deere.
And your fields are smaller. You're saying wrapped by trees. So if that's the case, John Deere was going for maybe a bigger market too. I'm wondering does John Deere have, did they specialize in a small series tractor?
They have now, but maybe back then, no.
If you think about it, they had 40, if we go to the 40 series, they had 100 horsepower tractors, but their frame size really wasn't a lot different between 40 and 48 40s.
Yep.
Right. And two, you look at, they didn't have a small cultivating tractor either. Like International, the 140 and the 100 were huge here in the 70s and 80s because they were one-row cultivating tractor. Well, and then everybody went to like a 656 International, a tricycle, something, so they get turned around in small fields. And I guess John Deere never really did have a tractor that suited the market here.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we got through all of our beers.
We did. All of our non-beers. We've never done this before. We had seltzers, and then we had pumpkin beers, and now we had non-beers.
Which is good because I'm going back out to the field as soon as this gets done.
Yeah.
So we've all had the same amount of alcohol here.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. That's first.
Well, Will, how can people find you? What do they find you on TikTok and Instagram?
You can find me on TikTok or Instagram, the Tarheel Farmer, or just Tarheel Farmer. Come check me out. I might have some funny stuff for you to laugh at.
That's what I love about Will the most. Like, I think he's got a very real and fresh humor of agriculture. Mm-hmm. I like that. So, kind of the last two guests we've had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, with Field Rose.
Yep.
And now Will. So, going good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we appreciate your time, Will. We know you're just as busy as anybody else, so thank you for spending your time with us. Listeners, thank you for listening in. We know you got a lot of podcasts that you could tune into, so if you enjoyed this one, be sure to like, rate, review, and share. And if you have a guest idea or a topic for us, send it to Farm4Profit LLC at gmail.com. Corey, why don't you send us out?
You're not going to ask him the question?
No, we could do that. Oh, my goodness. See, the problem is I don't have any alcohol in me.
To remember.
It doesn't feel right. Will, we ask every one of our guests what the most successful people that you know have in common.
I would have to say farm-wise, it's the people that are patient enough to sit in the shed when everybody else is trying to push the envelope when they're planting. The guys that are patient enough to wait just a little bit longer till everything gets perfect, and then when the time gets right, they roll. Because we're all out there watching the neighbors. As soon as the first person comes out of the shed with the planter, well, everybody's wanting to go then. And most of the guys that really raise a good crop around here are the ones that wait a week and let everything get perfect before they get started. It's hard to be that patient, but I think that makes a difference for a lot of the pro farmers around here.
So, peer pressure.
Yeah.
Don't give in to peer pressure.
Yeah, you could put that on a broad base. You're not peer pressured by what everyone else is doing.
Yeah,
because you know what is right.
Patience is a virtue.
Yep.
It is.
Very good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for reminding me, Corey.
Now I can do it.
Got to get back into the routine. Why don't you send us out?
Yeah, so if you're doing Sober October, crack a non-alcoholic beer from Dahl Distributing, you deserve it. If you're not doing Sober October, crack a regular beer because you deserve that too.
I want to.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you next week. Intro music recorded by Tyler Rickton and the High Bank Boys. Commentary added by Elena Montemagni. And credit to bensound.com for music.